Well, hey, good morning, everybody. So glad to have you here this morning again, whether you're here in person or online. As I warned you all last week, I was going to wear jeans, and here I am in jeans and enjoying a little bit more casual Sunday. I think most of y'all know one of the things that I had instituted pretty quickly after I got here was to allow the staff the week off between Christmas and New Year's, and also the week after Easter. It's a chance for folks who work really hard to have a chance to rest. Now, truth is that we still want to have Sunday worship. There are some churches who take this Sunday off, and good for them, I guess. But we still want to do something this Sunday, and so Michael is going to be taking Christmas carol requests, so that once you leave this space today, you will have gotten all of the Christmas carols out of your soul that you needed to have out. We're going to do one thing after we do some singing. And at the end of the year, the calendar year, now we've been in the new liturgical year for 4 weeks now, but we're at the end of our calendar year, and we won't gather again until the new year. So I like to take at least one Sunday out of the year. Now, if we had the fellowship hall, we'd probably do it in there, and we'd be around tables. We'll figure out here. And I want to ask you all in groups 2 questions. One is what is the thing that brought you the most joy out of this last year, 2021? And the second thing is what do you anticipate or are most excited for in 2022? It's a good chance for you to get to know some members of the church that maybe you don't sit around or haven't had a chance to get to know, but it's just a chance for us to celebrate as a community what God has done and look forward and anticipate what is to come. But first, because this is a worship service, and the one thing we have to make sure that we do is hear the word, and I will, this is the one time of year I do a completely extemporaneous reflection on the word. Let's do that, and then we're on to singing. So, brothers and sisters, hear now the word of the Lord. I mean, you could tell, I'm even reading it from my phone. First reading today is from the book of Colossians. As God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience. Bear with one another, and if anyone has a complaint against each other, forgive each other. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you were called into one body, and be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. Teach and admonish one another in all wisdom, and with gratitude in your hearts sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs to God. And whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. And our second reading today comes from the Gospel according to Luke. Now, every year his parents, meaning Jesus' parents, Mary and Joseph, went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up as usual for the festival. When the festival was ended and they started to return, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Assuming that he was in the group of travelers, they went a day's journey. Then they started to look for him among their relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem to search for him. And after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. When Jesus saw him, they were astonished, and his mother said to him, "Child, why have you treated us like this? Look, your father and I have been searching for you in great anxiety." He said to them, "Why are you searching for me? Did you not know I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. His mother treasured all these things in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and in years and in divine and human favor. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So I think the 2 things that strike me out of these 2 passages is first off, I think this gospel reading in Luke was probably the first draft of Home Alone. But then they realized, that's probably not going to get a whole lot of people excited. We watched Home Alone. It's part of an annual tradition. We watch it every year now with the kids. But in the same way, it's kind of interesting, right? Here is this young Jesus, 12 years old, leaving his parents, and somehow his parents forget him, and they're at the temple, and then suddenly, after 3 days, they think to themselves, oh, maybe Jesus is at the temple, right? I mean, it's just a funny line. And then Jesus, Mary, understandably, like as a parent, be like, Jesus, holy moly, you scared the bejesus out of me and your dad, right? I mean, Luke says it with great anxiety. And Jesus says, don't you know I'm at my Father's house? And of course, that's a cue for us as the readers now to say, oh, this Jesus is something special, right? He's fully God, fully human. And I think if you have that relationship between the Colossians passage and the Luke passage, it's interesting to think about the things that when we are in this position of being amongst God's people, when we're gathering together, when we're spending time, there's certain things we do with each other, and there's certain things we do for each other that might not feel like the typical thing, right? We're kind of at the end of Christmas. We're all tired. Like all of the goodwill starting to wane, right? We're ready to sort of hunker in a little bit and get back to normal life. You've probably burnt out all of your kindness conversations with that one in-law that you had to see this week. And so you're like, I really don't want to spend any extra kindness points on anybody else if I can avoid it, right? And especially right now. I mean, I'm mindful every time I take a deep breath about something. I'm mindful of how much the last year and a half has weighed on me, and I'm sure you. 2019, I probably had this much energy and this much bandwidth, and 2020 took this amount. 2021 took this amount. And so now I'm even more tired, right? But I think these passages remind us that there are ways of being and ways of doing that are beyond the typical, right? Beyond the ways that make sense to us, right? We would expect Jesus would just go home and do what he's supposed to. But he said he does something that really is miraculous. I mean, I would love to see my 12-year-old, if I don't know where he is someday, to be like, oh, he's probably at the church sitting with the elders talking about Jesus. That would be great. Really good for a pastor's kid. But, I think the chances of that are, and I love Abraham, but the chances of that are relatively slim. Most of us are not going to expect our kids to just jump in and start, teaching Bible. But there's something different about this Jesus that even bends the conventional notions of parenthood a little bit, right? The expectation is, as a parent, they're still going to it's like, no, this was the good thing for Jesus to do. And so this Colossians passage is a fascinating one here at Christmas time, because what it's asking us to do is, as ones who do gather in this space, as one who we do consider ourselves part of this fold of beloved ones amidst the one who has come, that we clothe ourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bear with one another, and if anyone has a complaint against each other, forgive. Deal with people and their ridiculousness. Deal with that in-law that you don't really want to have to talk to. And when they say something stupid, which they will, you say, it's okay, I forgive you. And I wonder if that's not such a bad way to end the year and to look into the next year, right? What is it that we're tasked to do a little differently? How are ways that while the typical conventions of what we would do was that we would follow those who are charged with our care, that we follow them wherever they're going, but maybe at times we have to stop and settle in God's house? What are times that in the midst of a world that's going to keep telling us otherwise, right? Don't clothe yourselves in kindness and humility and grace. Have no need for forgiveness. It's amazing to me, really, when we struggle to find out, how are we different as the church? What can we do differently? Maybe that's it, right? And maybe in a world that really is determined right now to go to war with itself in spirit, maybe the simple thing we've got to do is, we're just going to try to be as nice as we can be. We're going to be as loving as we can be, and be thankful. So as we're singing, as we spend some time in reflection, maybe that is where our hearts need to be. It's not necessarily in the dramatic, not necessarily in the fancy, but maybe in just the simple things that we do well, and continue to try to do them well. So, there is our required reflection on the gospel and hearing the word proclaimed. Let's spend a little bit of time calling out what Christmas carols, what Christmas songs do you want to hear? What do you want to sing? What do you want to... and I will try, for those of you who may be online right now, I'm going to try to keep track. If y'all have some call-outs, because there is nothing more fun, I have found, than singing to your computer during a worship service. So you could sing or sing into your heart. We'll be prepared either way. So who wants to go first? Frankie, what do you want to sing? It came upon a midnight clear. 123. Y'all can sit. Do you want all verses? Do you want... Let's do 1 and 5. Great. Yes? Yeah. You guys want to come up here and sing Away in a Manger again? You've been requested. Come on. Don't be shy. Oh, Frankie, you of everybody should be pretty jazzed about this again. Yeah, you guys can stand right there. You can head back.
Why can't we sing all the songs?
You can sing whatever song you want.
Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle Bell Rock.
Jingle Bell Rock.
Daddy, I got one.
What?
Jingle Bells.
Jingle bells. We can do Jingle Bells later. But let's Hark the Herald Angels Sing. All right. 119. Do you have verses? We'll do all three. Yes, we'll do them all. All right. Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Yes. 113. Angels we have heard on high. This is a 3-verser. We can do all that. $266. This is, oh, yes. They want the classics. They want the classics, Michael. They want the classics. They want the regular joy to the world. Yes. 134. I mean, it is the day after. We're gonna give this. This is what's gonna happen. Y'all be like, December comes. It's like, I want Christmas carols, and we're gonna give you this joy to the world. If you're like, this is not what I meant when I said I wanted more Christmas carols. was rousing. 124. Oh, this is a good one. Actually said this, like when Abe was first born, I said to Lindsay one night, still, he sleeps in this night, so chill, right? I just want so much my newborn to just chill, so you did good work. All right. 157. Oh, do you want to do the whole thing? You want to do the, we'll do 1, 2, and 3. Okay.
1, 2, 3?
Yes. We'll work our way, Shelley, and then man, we need to do this more. One, whoa, what we got? Combined 136. All right. Go tell it on Mountain 136.
Oh, cool. I can't believe we left that one out.
Well, we haven't now. Some. Hey, that was fun. Friends don't let friends clap on the 2 and 4. So if you followed on the tambourine, you were fine. What else? 132. We got time for a couple more, and then we'll transition. So be bold. Yes, 132. Yeah, let's do all. That's 3. I got to be honest with you all about this song. So we sang it on Christmas Eve, right? And I'm sitting up there, and I have this like perfect view of about 5 or 7 like middle school boys. And you could tell like this is like peak middle school boy time in the church when you sing this song and you say ox and ass. And I almost started giggling because I watched all these smiles from this group of boys. I was like, yeah, you know what you just sang. You know what you just got away with. And of course, like that is part of this rite of passage in the church, right? Like everybody does that once and you're like, I got to do this. So it just was a moment of nostalgia for me too, to watch those kids. That was really funny. And I almost like lost my train of thought at that point because I was like, oh yeah, those kids got it. Anyway, what else do we got today? Linda. 129. transition here. Although I'm thinking, before the time is out, there is literally, and I had 148 literally would be related to today, Mary and Joseph coming to the temple. Well, let's not do that now. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of transition. So here's what I want y'all to do. I want y'all, as best as you can, and if you don't want to get up now, that's fine, but I want y'all to kind of move around. I know y'all have home-based pews, or some of y'all do. I want y'all to move around a little bit. I know, some of y'all are like, those are my home-based pews, so I'm already feeling out. What I want y'all to do is move around and sit in groups of like 5 or 6, close enough, as comfortable as you feel social distancing. So go ahead and get yourselves in groups of 5 or 6. We're going to hand out a couple, each group gets 2 pieces of paper. Does Abe have my phone? No, I have my phone. I mean, a group 2 is good too. All right, so come out in groups as best you can. And honestly, if the kids all want to be in a group, that's totally cool too. And help me identify which groups are which so I can, all right. I mean, it's arbitrary, right? You don't have to feel like it's got to be exact. I'm going to hand every group a couple pieces of paper. We got a group here. That's good. That's good. We got a couple more groups here. Okay, now here's what I want y'all to do. You got 2 blank pieces of paper. And the first question I want you all to answer, and whole idea is, maybe if you all haven't introduced each other, you don't know each other, now would be a great time to say, hi, my name is, and you talk a little about who you are. But the first question I want you all to answer with one another is, what is the thing that brought you the most joy in 2021? And I want you to write those things down on a piece of paper, on one of those pieces of paper. So go ahead, introduce yourselves, and say, what is the thing that brought you the most joy in 2021? Now, for those of you who are online, you're more than welcome to do the same. I'm happy to be in your group if you're online. By all means, I'm going to run upstairs here in the interceding time, and I'm going to keep track of all the chat. So we'll keep track of each of you and your responses. So just because you're not here doesn't mean you're not part of our service today. So if you've got anything about what brings you joy in 2021, let me know. All right, friends, if you are folks who work ahead, don't feel like you got to rush. But the second question is, what do you look forward to most? What do you anticipate most in 2022? So those are the two questions for you today. All right, friends, I hope that this was a good time. I mean, listen, y'all can keep going. You don't have to stop on my account. But I wanted to spend a couple minutes to ask if there's any of you who'd like to share some of the things, not just for your small group. Frankie, I'll let you go last, sweetheart. We'll let the grown-ups go first. And give me just a second while I grab our wireless mic. It's as much for our online folks to hear what everybody's saying. Okay. Should just be wireless one. Check, check. Check, check.
Is it on?
Check, check. Is it on?
Yes.
And we got it? Where we got it? We got it? Nice. Okay. All right, so remember, this is as much for our friends online, which we've got a good group online. So go ahead, Judy.
Okay, I'm going to summarize some of these things. Like, there was going to weddings. There was people were brought most joy was attending a wedding. One person said it was going back to be able to sing as a group, getting with family, and again recovering from a heart attack, which I thought was really good, and some had some children who had accomplished some things, like our daughter Laura became a judge. We were excited about that, and one said they traveled. They got to go to Yellowstone Park, which was good.
Terrific. Yeah, feel free to hold. That was great. Make sure it's real close. So, Tom here had something.
Two things. First off, we're thankful and we're pleased that we didn't catch it.
Yes.
And the second thing is what we want to see for this year is that nobody catches it.
Amen.
So I have a couple things, but probably my favorite thing is going on trips with friends and family and getting our new pool.
Very cool. Yeah. Awesome. Yes. We got some others up here.
Logan's 2021 favorite thing was his Legoland birthday trip. Buying a house, my friends, our pool, our road trip out west, and my best friend living next door. No, that's 2022. We're just doing.
Awesome.
Hi.
Really should have seen that.
I mean, anybody else want to share something? Frankie, all right. And Linda. Frankie, you got a tight hook on you, this one. Yeah, be real swift. What do you want to say?
I wanted to say, okay. I wanted to say, when I got my Osmo and my Kindle, I was super excited.
Yeah, when you got your Christmas gifts, absolutely.
I wanted to tell you more about what we talked about because Baber just said what he wanted, not what the rest of us wanted. Anyway, we were all happy about having children and grandchildren accomplishments, so a lot of you know about that. And we were all very thankful for family. That was the main thing. But also what we looked forward to was the end of the pandemic. And then also, number one, in the coming year, be kind to each other. Thank you.
Huh? Okay.
I think the thing that impressed me the most this year was Christmas Eve at the 6 o'clock service. I thought to hear the church sing loud, a good crowd here, it really did good for me. The second thing is that we were able to survive some pretty tough sicknesses. And what we're looking forward to is curing the viruses in good health. And I'm looking forward to going fishing.
Go fishing.
Maybe traveling a little bit to see our great grandchildren.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Do we have 2022 stuff we want to offer? All right, we'll come this way, and then we'll come back around.
Oh, no, I'm going to read it just to be safe. No, sir. An adults-only trip. My husband and I take adults-only trips every year, but we haven't for 2.5 or 3 years. Your brother said the same thing. Seeing more of Grandma and Grandpa, the church and what's to come, a big trip to Ohio to see family and friends. Mm-hmm. No, not you.
I mean, you're more welcome to come with us. Ohio's cool.
This is a collective list. Going to Georgia football games and having snowball fights.
Judy?
Okay. We were looking forward to for the new building reveal and for groundbreaking and how our church will be changing. And also we're looking forward to what the neighborhood will look like once the buildings, the apartments are built. One person said they would like to become more intentional about the year and not just let things happen to them, but kind of thinking about how it should unfold. Looking forward to being with extended family and grandchildren and children. Helping our grands to be more involved in their lives and helping them to share. And we had one person who had no thought at all.
A blank slate for the new year. That's
And then
good.
looking forward to getting health issues resolved.
Yes, terrific. Yes, this is good time. No, we got plenty of time. Cool.
Did you say we don't have time?
We do. We have plenty of time.
Hello, everybody. So I am here. I don't know who all knows everybody, but I am Rebecca Trotter, and this is Danielle and her lovely children. This is Maddox is over here, and Mateo is right here. And so we all had some input into this. They were lovely. So what we're thankful for, I think that's what it was, what brings us joy this year, or has brought us joy, was kids. Danielle with her children, I think, are her biggest joy. That's kind of obvious right here. They love each other a lot. And from Maddox, now Maddox loves the big church, and they're growing their own house. And when you plant a seed, you grow and grow and grow. And there's a magical elf, and that brought Maddox great joy. And for Mateo, tons of presents, and Santa brought him a lot of joy this year. And I just have to tell you, these young gentlemen have elf names. And Mr. Mateo, his elf name is Squishy. And Mr. Maddox, his elf name is Spider-Man. So these are, yes. And then also, for me personally, celebrating the gift of family and friends this year, even through a lot of loss and sadness in our family, and just friends and family I know that have had a lot of loss this year. And sharing what we have with others and even with strangers. There's something about strangers right now, and just connecting with people or sharing a smile that just seems to be bringing a lot of joy right now. And so what we're looking forward to as a group here in 2022, family growth, not in the adding children way, but just in like growing as a family together. There's already a sister at Nocatee, that's right, yeah. And continued success in growing the business. It's a very interesting business. I'm going to learn more about it afterwards here. And listening to the inner voice, this was kind of for me, listening to the inner voice when God speaks to my heart, trying to listen to it and not ignore it. And I'm kind of interested to know where God's going to lead us as a family. And I'm also looking forward to Christmas Chronicles and Mailboat Cruise with friends this year. Mailboat Cruise with Captain Brett.
All right. Well, hey, this has been great. And I do want us to try to commit to, it's 11:29. So listen, you've spent a whole hour here today singing and celebrating. I know, crazy, right, Abraham? And in one way, this is a nice relief, right? This is a little different than what we do every Sunday. But sometimes it's nice to do something a little different so that in some ways, when we go back to sort of our normal order of worship on next Sunday, we'll, it almost feels new. I, of course, didn't mention what brought me joy in 21 and what I look forward to in 22. Obviously, being able to have a house is a nice thing. Anybody who works in this line of work on this side of the pulpit, you're always a little nervous about, you're going into a new group of people who don't know you and you don't know them, and you just hope once the honeymoon phase is over, you all still like each other. And I can proudly stay even still. Now, of course, we have some folks who have yet to come back, so I can't make this guarantee. But there hasn't been a single person, a member of this church, that I have not enjoyed, have not been excited to have a part of my life. And so I am over the moon grateful for this congregation and truly the friendships that I've gained over the last year that have been a surprise and unexpected. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the way that this church loves my family, even the small ones, which, are rambunctious and do what little kids do. So I'm grateful for that. I am, like some folks said, I'm anticipating the groundbreaking and all the stuff. But maybe more than anything, the thing I am anticipating in 2022 is just, and of course, let's hope the pandemic starts to, although I constantly feel like we've been in the third quarter for a year now. But what I truly hope for us and for me is that we feel like we've got a really clear vision of who we're becoming in 22. And that we all feel like, even if we might not always 100% agree, we all feel like we can walk in the same direction together, and that we're supporting each other. And we're real close to that now. And so to take a year and to see what is it like to start programming again? What is it like to become more of who we've always been and become something new? I'm excited for that. Oh, yeah. Well, it's either now or when I retire. So I am very much looking forward to my installation. I suppose before y'all go, just a couple brief announcements and some news. Please, again, put on your calendar. The 23rd of January is going to be installation at 4 o'clock. The Reverend Paul Hooker, who at one time was the executive presbyter of this presbytery, who also was one of my professors at Austin Seminary, will be coming to Jacksonville to preach that service, and I'm excited for that. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to have y'all here. We're continuing our Sunday school, The Wired Word, on Sunday mornings at 9. We had a terrific conversation today, so it's something you can jump in and out of. You don't have to feel the obligation to be a part of all the time. Come be a part of that. Trying to think if there's any other big announcements right now. Remember, the office is closed this week, so if you need something, call one of us, probably via cell phone is the best way, if you have our cell phones. But if you need something, if it can wait, we'll pick it back up on the 3rd, but give everybody rest. Do want to make one brief prayer request known, is that Leon Faust called me this morning, and Robert has had, talking about COVID, Robert has had COVID for the last few weeks and has been battling in the hospital in the ICU. He was put on a ventilator last week and then contracted COVID pneumonia. And while it might be, as I understand it right now, Leon is taking Robert off the ventilator, and I don't think it's in a good way. There's a little bit of conflicting information as we understand it from a couple days, but when somebody calls the pastor right before Sunday service, it's not usually for positive news, it's usually for emergency news. So, I think, and this is the first person in a year and a half that I will have to observe a service for that I knew because of COVID. And that's in one way, thanks be to God that we've all been relatively left unscathed. But keep Robert and Leon and the whole family. Thanks be to God, they've got a good church in North Carolina that they worship in when they're not here. And also, First Pres in Asheville, I've got friends there, and they've also been following with pastoral care for them. But keep the family in your prayers. I guess a good segue, for better or for worse, is that the numbers over the last 2 weeks went from 3 cases per 100,000 in Duval County to 8 cases per 100,000 in Duval County. And then yesterday's news said it was 25 per 100,000. And while that number is still relatively low, we have worshiped basically in this style with those numbers. If the numbers progress like they have, we will absolutely be in a danger zone by next week. This variant obviously has moved rapidly. So, we'll get our subcommittee together, but I'm probably going to argue that at the very minimum for our service on January 2nd, we will be back in masks, and not as sort of a hospitality thing, but more as we're going to require it. I'm really hoping we don't have to shut down again. We were able to manage the Delta variant in Preservation Hall, which is a much smaller space, but, just be prepared for whatever session in the subcommittee decide. But you know what? We've got a far more robust online system than we've ever had. So if that happens, you'll actually be able to watch us online. So, but at the end of the day, just continue to pray for all of those who are affected by COVID, whether it is us as a church and what we decide to do, or those who have it. But in particular, be in prayer for the Fausts and the decisions they've got to make. Why don't we go ahead and pray together, and then I'll ask y'all to rise, and I'll give a benediction. We are going to sing that 143, but we're going to sing it to the 148, sorry. But we're going to sing it to the tune Morning Has Broken, which y'all should be familiar with. So, friends, let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for the gift of this day. We thank you for a chance to sing, to lift our voices in praise, and we thank you for a chance to remember all that is good and all that we have celebrated in this year. Gracious God, is even we discussed on Christmas Eve, that which brings us joy can often be muddled by those things that crowd around it. We know that the frustrations and the difficulty of this time continue to weigh us down. But gracious God, help us to continue to focus on all that brings us joy, all that brings us life, including the birth that we mark this week. And gracious God, as we head through this time and we head towards Christmas, all of Christmastide, and we head towards an ordinary season of regular time, help us to still come back to this moment of celebration and hope. Gracious God, we're thankful for your Son who taught us how to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Friends, let us rise. I will give the benediction, and then we'll sing, and then you're free to go. Friends, go out into the world in peace to love and serve God by loving and serving neighbor. Carry the joys of each other. Carry the joys that you hold in your heart. Share them with one another. Show what good news there is to come. And as you go, know that you do not go alone, but God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit goes with you and guides you. Amen and amen. Again, thanks for worshiping today, and God bless you as you go through your week. We'll see you here next week.